Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak. This is No Agenda.
FIFA.
The fix is so in.
Well, right after we both picked the two teams.
It was like, oh my God.
We nailed it, right? That was a no-brainer.
Well, no, actually, you thought it would be Holland-Germany in the finals, and Holland would win because of the bike thing.
Yeah,
right.
You beat me up the ante with the thinking. You took the same thought process and took it to Spain, which knocked off Germany, creating the kind of interesting situation of Holland versus Spain. I have to give you I'm going to give you the award because I believe, after listening to, and I have a clip, as a matter of fact.
Well, no, before you get into it, let me just explain to people why we had this conversation. There's a lot of new listeners. We got some good ink in USA Today, so people might be checking in, going, what are these guys talking about? I think that we have a consensus here that most professional sports are rigged, and the World Cup in particular. And that I said Spain would have to win because the country is on the verge of rioting. There's historical documentation of countries winning that were on the verge of very bad times and the slaves revolting. And there's 20% unemployment, and Spain is completely hosed. The Netherlands, of course, Gitmo Nation Lowlands, has not had a government for almost exactly 1 month now, as their elections were held on June 9th. So, they could use a little bit. And Germany, I think Germany's strong. They really don't need to win at all.
They don't need any help.
I will point out, the elites always like to laugh at us, John, when they put these things together, these rigged competitions. Do you know that in the Dutch national anthem, I believe the actual first verse goes, Wilhelmus of Nassau, am I of German blood? And then it goes on to say, a prince of Orange I am, from the King of Spain, who I have always honored. And just to have Germany, Holland, and Spain all in that final kind of position, and then for those three names to be in the Dutch anthem, I just thought was, a lovely little coincidence.
Hilarious.
And you've got a clip to even throw some more.
Well, I just want to make it clear that this whole thing is hinted at in the coverage of this event. If you listen to any of the coverage, of course, this 1-0 score is ridiculous. I don't have the clips in front of me. Let me take a look.
Spain FIFA is what I've got here.
Yeah, that's the one. Play that, and you'll hear the hint in there that says to me that they're reporting. This is a long report. It came in that some woman is in Barcelona or someplace. I think it's Barcelona, and they're not rioting like they would in the USA, but they're all jumping up and down, having a great time. Everyone's wearing the Spanish colors, and they're partying in the streets essentially. And she makes mention of the issue.
Okay. Here we go.
Well, let's get some reaction now. And where better to go than to Madrid? And Sarah Rainsford is there.
Madrid.
And Sarah, just describe what it's like in the Spanish capital.
Well, hopefully you can hear it here. There are tens of thousands of Spanish fans going crazy behind me here. They were confident going into this match. They always said that they had the best side, the best Spanish team in decades, and they believed they could win. This is their first World Cup semi-final. They thought they could win, even though this was against Germany, a very difficult team. And it was such a tense first half here. Spain having so much possession, but here we got one of the fans joining me for a moment. Spain having so much possession, but they couldn't score until the second half, and the crowd here, they went crazy. There are so many people here, so excited. Spain, of course, in economic crisis at the moment. This is the kind of good news that this country needs. The fireworks going off.
Oh, I love it. Well, I
want to add something else to our theory, because I picked the Netherlands and you again picked Spain. I'm now thinking the following: you're going to take Netherlands into the finals, and then you're going to punish them. Ooh. Because they don't have a government. They can't take full part in the EU.
That's right. They need to be slapped. They need to be spanked.
So they will be beaten badly.
Well,
it won't be 1-0.
Well, so there's two ways it could go. I think, it could be a total pandemonium, like 4-1. And by the way, for a number of reasons, I wish Holland would win, but that's not what this program is about. Or, very typical for the Dutch, if the fix truly is in, they will play a 0-0 game, and they'll go into penalties after overtime. and they always lose it on penalties. That's the Dutch are famous for that. They apparently always choke. Did you know, by the way, that
They always choke.
yeah, the German psychic octopus predicted the Spanish victory over Germany?
Yeah, I know he did.
Did you see that on?
Yeah.
There's some octopus, and they throw like a couple of clams in there, and then
Yeah, it's picked every game so far.
Producer Trey sent me a note. He said, "Hey, you know, I guarantee you the fix is in for Spain to win the World Cup." This is something we missed, John. He said, "I knew it at the beginning of their match against Argentina during the coin flip. Apparently, the referee flipped the coin in the air, caught it with one hand, slapped it on the back of the other hand. He lifted his hand to peek at the coin, and then it accidentally fell on the ground. He grinned sheepishly, bent over to retrieve it, and then pointed at the Spanish player." I mean, if that had happened at an American football game,
wow,
the fans would have been on the field.
They would have killed the guy.
They would have been on the field. You can't drop the toss and then point at the guy and say, "You go." Oh, man.
Well, you know, the thing is, I mean, the two best teams, everybody, according to all the experts, and I'm not a big soccer expert.
Argentina for sure, and Brazil.
Argentina and Brazil were the two teams expected to play in the finals because they're the two best teams in the world, and they both lost to these European teams, and the whole thing is sketchy.
Yeah.
But this thing about, you know, let's get Spain to keep from revolting. It's too obvious. I mean, the Netherlands, the Dutch can lose this game, and it's not going to to that much.
They're not going to protest. They're all completely subservient. They're not going to do anything.
Spanish need to win. So I'm now switching sides. I'm taking.
Well, you have to forfeit like money. You can't just switch sides mid-bet.
I'm forfeiting the dollar we bet.
I figured out, by the way, why the Netherlands doesn't have a government yet. It took me a while, and I was like, what is taking so long? Because essentially Geert Wilders, who now, of course, is being vilified, and he's, anything but Geert, even though 25% of the voting public voted for him. The Christian Democrats lost. They've been running the country for the past 8 years. They lost the most. They're down to, 20, around in the 20-something seats in the government, 2%, I should say. Then you have the kind of middle right guys, I could say you call them the conservatives. They came out the winners along with Labor. So of course you've got the conservative and let's just call it Labor, kind of right and left, and how are they going to work together? So they're trying to form a government, and the obvious party to draw in would be Geert Wilders, and then you have a majority cabinet, and you can go and govern the country. But they don't want him in, and I figured it out. It's because they need to keep the same guy running the Justice Department, where all of the pedophile elites are running the show.
Pedophiles again.
Well, you have not heard? I know you haven't, because this is I haven't actually seen this in print in English yet. Remember I told you about Belgium? Right. About what was going on there? Well, they did a little search there at the Archbishop's pad in Brussels, and gee, what did they find? Hundreds of pictures of two of the Dutroux victims, Julie and Melissa. These are two 8-year-old girls. But pictures of them of their bodies being dug up, and he had confidential files that were only intended to be in court dossiers. So the Archbishop is in deep, deep, deep trouble, as is, I would have to say, the Pope, who, remember, the Pope came out and said, "Oh, this is wrong. You shouldn't do this. This is not humane. You can't just go and search somebody's house like this." And they find all of this evidence in the Dutroux. You've got to Google that, Dutroux, which, of course, is part of the huge pedophile ring rampant across Europe and God knows how far. And I just want to say I called that one. And it's just sickening. Sickening. So, yeah, so in the Netherlands, they've got to keep the Hirsch Ballin, who is running the Justice Department. They got to keep him in to keep all those guys in their spot, and that's why they can't form the coalition, because that would mean the Christian Democrats would have to come in. It's crazy.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak. This is No Agenda.